Hey there, this is Tess Schaefer from Team Just Cause Robotics, and today I just wanted to weigh in on the intense debate over the last several days about the Rotator versus Beta judges' decision. Just a quick disclaimer, the views I'm expressing here are my own personal views and are not representative of the whole Bloodsport Battlebots team or any other specific Battlebots competitors. My main issue with the decision is not based on my opinion of which is the better robot or who deserved to win purely from watching the fight, etc. But according to Battlebots guidelines, Rotator earned the win. The reason I disagree with the official decision on the show is purely due to lack of consistency with the judging guidelines as set out and published publicly by Battlebots. I have a link to the full guidelines below so you can read for yourself and see if you agree, and will directly quote them herein. I'm primarily going to discuss how aggression and damage are meant to be scored. Here is the first direct quote from the judging criterion. Q. How can lack of weapon use affect aggression? A. If a bot has a functional weapon but never uses the weapon, or it uses it only with little effect near the end of a match, that bot should not receive all of the aggression points regardless of how much aggression it showed. Unquote. This is a rule that the judges did respect here. Failing to use your main weapons results in being unable to get all 3 aggression points. Thankfully, at least this was followed here. Rewatching the fight, Beta slammed Rotator into the wall about 12 times and into the screws once. Maybe 3 of these were relatively energetic slams. But did it affect Rotator in any way functionally? No. Personally, I believe Rotator deserved 2 aggression points, and therefore should have won even with just 4 of the 5 damage points. Here's why. I'd like to state the case that Rotator was aggressive enough to earn 2 aggression points as Jason scored it. Victor was constantly doing everything in his power to get that weapon right up on top of Beta and wreck that hammer, and most importantly, he was using his weapon to do it. The judging criteria clearly states the following. Quote, if both bots exhibited about equal aggression, award more points to the bot that used its weapons more often or more effectively. So in order to have Beta win the aggression points, it must be argued that Beta was much more aggressive with its weapon. But they also state, Q, what about attacking by ramming? A. Attacking a bot by ramming rather than by using a weapon counts less towards aggression than if a weapon is used. However, if the weapons on both bots are disabled and the bots are ramming each other, then the frequency and boldness of the attacks should be considered when deciding which bot was more aggressive. Given that for 2 minutes of the fight, both Beta and Rotator had working weapons, this clearly means Rotator deserved more aggression points. Now, let's talk about damage. Why did Rotator get 4 instead of 5 damage points on 2 of the judges' scorecards, despite not actually receiving any functional damage? Here, I'm undecided on whether or not I agree, but I definitely think that the absolute worst case for Rotator should be getting 4 of the 5 points. The rules define damage as the following. Damage means that through deliberate controlled action, a BattleBot either directly or indirectly using the arena hazards reduces the functionality, effectiveness, or defensibility of an opponent. It is not considered damage if an opponent BattleBot inadvertently harms itself. Also, if a pressure vessel or a rapidly spinning device on a BattleBot fragments, any damage to the opposing BattleBot will not be considered deliberate and thus should not count as damage. There's a follow-up Q&A specific to only if one bot is damaged. Q. How do I judge damage if only one bot has detectable damage, even if cosmetic? A. If one bot inflicted detectable damage on its opponent, and its opponent never caused damage in return, a strong advantage should be given to the attacking bot. However, if its opponent did cause some damage in return, the opponent should receive some consideration for that damage. There seems to be a gray area here in the case where damage is inflicted using a robot's main weapon, but without deliberate, controlled action. Watching the moment of the fight where Beta lost its hammer, it would appear Beta was in control, but made a driving error that resulted in them hitting the wall on a corner, spinning around, and then their hammer just happened to slam into Rotator's spinning weapon. The point about deliberate controlled action would seem to indicate Rotator might not deserve all 5 damage points, even though they were the only robot to use their main weapon to cause functional damage, as opposed to cosmetic damage. However, it only seems logical that if Robot A damaged Robot B, and Robot A is never damaged, all 5 damage points go to Robot A. The rule, however, only states that a strong advantage should be given, and not necessarily all 5 points in this case. So it's not clear that Rotator for sure should have gotten all 5 damage points, simply because they didn't suffer damage and Beta did. I think that there could definitely be a strong case that the damage delivered to Beta, while it was definitely able to reduce Beta's, quote, effectiveness and defensibility and functionality, it wasn't necessarily controlled and intentional on Rotator's part. I personally believe that Beta and Rotator are both fierce competitors and amazing robots. I am not trying to argue that Beta is a terrible bot or that they fought horribly. All I'm saying is that by failing to utilize their weapon, the hammer, before it was disabled, despite having the ability to do so, they should not have earned more than 1 aggression point. The way the scoring works, it's insufficient to win any single category of points in order to win a fight, so they can't win on control alone. Battlebots wrote the rules to generally encourage destructive weapons in order to put on a good show. The emphasis on damage is very intentional, and it's really difficult to win a fight without earning damage points. In this case, on the show, the judges sided with Beta when Beta controlled the match, and it looked like Beta was often the aggressor in terms of their driving, yet they were the only robot to suffer damage. Regardless, the judging guidelines are pretty specific that aggression with a primary weapon is required to earn most or all of the aggression points. If only one robot uses its weapon, it seems like the intention of the guidelines is to award that robot the win, and in this case, that robot is Rotator. That's the end of my statement. I'm sure many of you have your own thoughts and opinions, and I hope I didn't just start a flame war in the comments. I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. Do you like that Battlebots have made the show so heavily focused on providing an easier path to success for destructive spinning weapons? Do you think there should be changes to how the scoring system works? Let me know down below. There are also definitely more controversial decisions coming, so tell me if you want me to weigh in on those as well. And while you're at it, feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it, or subscribe to see more of my videos in the future. Thanks for watching!